So good morning, everybody. I'm putting a little video together to help show how to do a little technique of the needle felting kits that everybody seems to have a little bit of a hard time with. I think they overthink it. And it's making the tubes that are parts of all of the kits that I have. And this one in particular is the little yellow tabby cat. And if you look on his face, you can see that there's these little raised pieces that go across his face. If you put him side to, you can see it a little bit more. And so these are done with making little wool tubes that you use the skewer to do. It's really hard to do this because I'm watching myself on my phone as I film this. I'm not actually looking at my hands. So here is a tube that I have made, and if I was at the point of adding this to him, it would go here. So it becomes this bump that is his nose, and then the eyebrow bump here. And also the tail is done by rolling tubes on these skewers, and it doesn't matter which end you put it on. It has nothing to do with the point. It's the diameter of it that makes the tube work. This is the tail, and this was done almost the full length of the tube before it was then put on. So here he is. I'll put him over here, and here's a finished tube. And so the very important part of doing these is that this part of the beginning is really, really thin and wispy. Hopefully you can see that this is really, really thin. And so you're going to take your skewer. You are not wrapping this around the skewer. You are rolling it. So the very, very thin end goes onto it like this, keeping it kind of in the center of the skewer, wherever your hand's comfortable. And then you just kind of use the back of your hand as a brace as you roll this on. Very important. See the little kitty picture through here? This has to be thin. If you get it too thick, it's not going to stay tight. So very, very thin. Roll it. Use the back of your hand. So you'll see I'm building this tube. And if it breaks, it's not a problem because it will just grab onto itself. So I can kind of put this back on here and then pick up where I left off, rolling the fiber onto the skewer. So you're working towards, it kind of looks like a little cocoon, and you're working towards getting sort of even throughout. Now if I was going to do the tail, I would start here and I would do a really thin roll across like this, and then I would work my way back, and I'm trying to keep it consistent in size, and then I would add some white onto the end of the tube while it's still on here. So after you get these done, and I do kind of recommend if you're doing legs, like if you're doing the sheep or the goat or anything that's got 4 legs, you do them all at the same time because you want them to be the same length. This part, when after you've broken it off, just put it in that little crease in your hand and roll it, and the friction and the heat from your hand will make it get tight, and then you just slide it off. So here's your little tubes. Here's a nose and an eyebrow ridge that goes up here. Sometimes you kind of pull the ends of it a little bit depending on the size you've made so that it fits. This goes here. I believe we do the nose piece first. Put the nose on. So it makes like a T. The fox is the same way. It's a T across here. And then after, let's pretend his eyes and his little stripes aren't on there, and his nose. After you get those rolls on there, you layer a thin coat over him, and you take your felting needle and you do the definition around the tubes. So you would be tapping in around, I'm not going to do it because he's all finished, but you would be tapping around those tubes that would go here and here. Now, the tubes that you're going to build with are not going to be yellow. They're going to be white because you get more white in your kit, and then the yellow is what comes on the outside. So if you look really close, you can see a little bit of white in his eyebrows, and Then his nose is a tube too, a tiny little tube that you do, and then you kind of felt it down on the end. And they all kind of take on their own look. It's just how you make your animal. Nobody makes them the same, and that's what makes them fun. So I hope this is helpful. I hope this is easy for you to see. And I have lots of kits coming with me this weekend to Newburyport for the Spring Festival. I have been making this morning some sheep. There's the little black sheep. I have the white sheep, the bears, and the foxes, the seals, and the snowy owls are all coming. And here's a little quick peek if you want to see last night some of the pieces we were working on doing the freeform felting. This was making the base of it and then building up with color depending on what you wanted to use. A little hand-dyed yarn and some curls and some mohair. I haven't gotten to that. You've probably seen these two I've gotten finished, so you can see how these all are just textures and different stitches. And then I was playing around yesterday with this one with some carrots, and it's just kind of endless what you can do. There's no rules, and it's really fun and colorful, and I'm going to run it again in a couple of weeks. And it's also going to be at Unwind. So I hope this helps. I hope you have a great day. It's a beautiful sunny day. I can't wait to be outside. And I will see you soon.